Hello, Stampin' Buddies. It's Lori from Lori's Little Bit of Craftin'. I think I should take the nickname of Late Night Lori, maybe, because it's just a little after midnight. We're now into January 3rd. I intended on getting this done on the 2nd, but that just didn't happen. So the house is quiet. I'm going to do a quick video. I'm going to feature some products from the Sale-A-Bration catalog and the mini catalog that go live in just a few more days, January 7th. So next Tuesday, these catalogs will go live and then I can actually open them up for you. At this point, I'm not allowed to open them because that breaks Stampin' Up rules, and I am not going to do that. But I'm going to feature some free items that I got from the Sale-A-Bration catalog, and I am going to feature some stuff out of here too, I think. Yeah, the paper. So without further ado, let's move on. Get those things out of the way. So I am going to, again, case a card out of the catalog, and I'm going to use some of this Wildflower Birthday 12 by 12 Specialty Designer Series paper. The last video I did, I showed you these DSP pieces that have the gold metallic on them, and you can see they're just so pretty the way they shimmer. And then there's also 2 sheets that have the ephemera punch out pieces so that you can very easily make cards. So you get 2 sheets of the ephemera pieces. And I'm not going to take those out because they're starting to come off my sheet and I don't want to lose any of them. So I'm going to use some of this gingham page that's just the back side of this one. So I've got a piece cut of that. I'm going to use some of these party dots. There's what, 220 did I say yesterday? 210, I guess. Pieces in there. Yeah, 210 dots you get. Those are $8. And I'm also going to use the heart-shaped stamps and the heart-shaped dies that coordinate. I got these free. And to get them free during Sale-A-Bration, now because I'm a demonstrator, I can order things early and get my rewards early. So this was a set that I wanted to get for free. So it takes a $120 purchase to get this set free. Some of the things that you can order through Sale-A-Bration, it only requires a $60 purchase. This one happens to be one that you have to get the $120, but you get both things. All right, so I'm going to show you a really cute card. And I'm just using our Petal Pink cardstock. So this is an 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. So 8.5, 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I have another piece. It's 3 3/4 by 5 for the middle, for the sentiment on the inside. We're going to stamp a design on that. This piece of designer series paper I have cut down to 3 1/4 by 5.5. So it's going to go the whole length here. So let me just glue that down. And we will get that part done. I almost hate to cover up this other side because the papers are so pretty, but there are some fun folds that I'll try to show you too so that you can actually see both sides of the paper. So let's put that little piece down there. And with the green glue, the multi-purpose glue, we all seem to call it green glue because it's in a green bottle, but it's the Tombow multi-purpose glue. I use that primarily because it gives you a little bit of wiggle room, all right? Then I'm going to use just a basic white piece. Now I cut this, I think 3 3/4. Yeah, 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And then I found my middle, which was just under 2 inches. So like 1 15/16 maybe, or 1 7/8, 1 7/8 maybe. So I marked my center, 1 7/8. I went up about 1/2 inch, and then I just cut my diagonals with my trimmer, all right? This, now I'm going to actually stamp a heart design on from the stamp set. So I'm going to stamp this on, and I'm going to use Lemon Lime Twist, which is one of my all-time favorite colors. And I'm just going to go a little tap, tap, tap. I'm not going to go squish, 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 because then you mess up your stamp. And I'm going to pull in my piercing mat, because that helps me get a little better image. And I'm just going to try to put that right in the center. Some nice even pressure on there. It's gorgeous. This is such a pretty set. And then while I'm at it, I am going to stamp my hello in Petunia Pop, kind of a coordinating color. Nice. And then for the inside of my card, I'm going to stamp the sentiment that says, my thoughts of you are all heart-shaped. So normally when I'm teaching a class, I tell my participants to put their block down with the stamp on it and just go tap, tap, tap. That way you avoid doing a squish, squish, squish and getting too much ink on your stamp. Very nice. All right, so I can at this point put my inks away so that I don't make a mess. And I'm going to glue this to the inside. So if you're wondering what it would take to get a $120 purchase to get this stamp set and dies that coordinate for free, basically 2 items could get you there. 2 items that I think are pretty essential. And that would be the glass mat that I'm working on here. I need to slide this up a little bit. See how nice it moves? So the glass mat is $60. It's got a grid on here. You can use it for, let's say you're going to watercolor. You can put your inks right on here. If you're going to use a blending brush, you can use your inks right on here. It gives you a nice firm surface to stamp on. It cleans up so nice. It also comes with this silicone pad, so you can put your ink spots in here if you want, or you can put ink in here. And it also comes with this really nice chamois. And I like this chamois an awful lot. I wish they would sell these separately because it's thin and it soaks up the water really fast. Once it's dry and you have to re-wet it, it softens up really quick and absorbs the water really quick. So I don't know how it's different from this kind of chamois, but when that dries, it's really hard and it takes a while to get that softened up. All right. So I was telling you what you would need to get $120. So if you did the glass mat, which is $60, and then if you did our mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, this one happens to be the boho blue. It's a limited edition from our in colors from last year, 22 to 24, 21 to 23, no, 22 to 24. It's really nice because it's very compact, it's very light, and it comes with all the plates that you would need. So your base plate, let's say you're just going to cut dies, you would put your base plate, your cutting plate, your paper, your die, this one, and you run it through. And usually what I do is I offset my plates a little bit. And then when you run it through, it goes through so nice and smooth. And then when you pull it out, you know, you've got your die here. I usually use one plate always for the bottom. And when that one just gets too messed up, then I take my top plate. That one will become my bottom, and then I'll get a new top plate. But then these other plates you use for doing embossing folders. So either a regular embossing folder or the 3D embossing folders, but all of that comes with. This one, the boho blue one, is $63. If you get the basic white one, that one I think is $66. Yeah, so that's $66. So those two items, which I think, like I said, are very essential, would get you to your $120 where you would get this for free. And just wait till you see our finished card. All right, so since we're done stamping, I'm gonna get rid of my piercing mat and hopefully find all of my pieces. So I took the heart die, which, oh, is here. I took it out of the package. And I cut my garden green piece. And that's gonna go here, all right? So like I said in my last video, if you're planning ahead, use adhesive sheets when you've got intricate type cuts. Luckily, I remembered this time. So I will peel off the backing. Basically, you make your die cut a sticker and the adhesive is already on there. And then you don't end up with a mess trying to drop glue on your paper. And I usually become a sticky mess because I'm a messy stamper. So that will just set down here. And then I cut another one just so you could see what it's like. But what I thought I would do for another card is if you're using coordinating colors, you know, this comes in two pieces then. You've got the inside that generally is thrown away, and then you've got the foliage side. But what if you wanted to do coordinating colors? So if I had didn't want to use the stamp set, or maybe I just didn't want to use it, you would put that inside there, and it looks like I didn't lay that down quite in the right shape because I'm just a little off. This is a little high, but for what I'm doing, it doesn't really matter. But you can see how cool that would look. So you could do that with, you know, the Petunia Pop and the Petal Pink, or any other coordinating colors that you have. And I just think that would be so cool to put on a card. So I'm going to hang on to those pieces because I will probably do that. All right, let me get rid of this die so that I don't lose it, because that's kind of my MO. I start working on a bunch of stuff and then I end up not being able to get things back to where they belong promptly to put them away. All right, so I can actually put some dimensionals on this now. And I'm only going to put them on the corners and basically the tip of my pocket shape here, because I'm going to put some other flowers in the middle, and I don't want there to be too much rise for it to go through the Postal Service as a 1/4 inch. So we'll take these pieces off, and you can see how I like the pokey tool from my Take Your Pick tool, because it pulls these all off. So that one I didn't lift, there we go. And you can pick up quite a few that way. So we're gonna put this up there. We can eyeball it, or you could actually use your grid lines to help you line it up. It's kind of hard for me when I've got my head back from where I'm working, but I think that's pretty close. It might be just a little bit off. No, I think that looks pretty good. I eyeballed it pretty good, I think. And then another use for my Take Your Pick tool is on the putty end, if I leave the cap on, if I take flowers like this, and again, this is one of the dies from here, so that's the flower that I did, and then these foliage pieces are this die, and this die actually cuts two slightly different foliage pieces in one swipe, all right? And the nice thing about most of our die sets is that like 95% of them will go through that mini embossing machine, because they're within that 3 inches that it'll allow. But my Take Your Pick tool, I will use to put some curve on my flowers. And it makes it have a little bit of dimension in addition to the little cuts there are in there. So I don't know if you can kind of see that or if it gets too dark. But it does have some slits in there from the die. There's nothing that I had to do with that. But I think having those petals turned up a little bit gives it a little bit more dimension. So we are going to put a little bit of glue on these. And we don't need a lot. A little bit goes a long way. And if I lay these and don't actually push on the petals, they'll stay with their flipped up shape how I intended. Sometimes my hands are just so dry, I need to use extra tools. So let's just put those there. And then we'll put a little glue on our foliage here and just kind of find a place for those to sit. Has everybody gotten their catalogs, I hope? If you haven't, you need to let me know, because you should have gotten them by now. Because they go live in just a couple of days and you want to be able to peruse them and know what things are tripping your trigger and what you want. Even though I was able to pre-order a few items, there's still plenty that I think I'm going to need to get. Needs and wants are oftentimes confused when I'm getting my crafting supplies. But I get a lot of use out of the things that I have. And I just like spreading the joy of card making. Good enough. All right, so let's put that away. Get rid of the glue. And I'm going to use my Take Your Pick tool again and put some centers to our flowers. So with the putty end, I've shown this before, but I basically take my putty and leave this on here until it's just not sticky anymore, until it falls off and you can't get it pushed back on, because it should last a really long time. If your putty tip does come off, this is filled with more putty, so you just screw it on pretty tight until some putty starts coming out, and then loosen it up so it stops advancing, and then make sure you just kind of warm it up and form it against your tip of your Take Your Pick tool. So I just slide them right off that plastic backing, and then when I set them down, they usually stay pretty good. And then I just push so that the glue is kind of set, you know, the glue dot, basically, because these already have the adhesive on them, so I don't have to worry about adding adhesive and making a mess. And then the other thing I need to do is cut out my little hello. And I'm just doing a basic rectangle cut here. And we'll put a couple of dimensionals on the back of here. And if you don't have a good pair of snips, those are the ones to get, because the tips on these are so precise that you can get really good cuts out of that. So let's just put 2 of those on there. And another way to get the backs off is if you just press in the center of them, and it kind of lifts up the edges. So you can get those off of there. And we'll put a little hello on here. And there's our card. What do you think? Pretty cute, don't you think? So then if I have another piece, usually I'll cut a piece of coordinating cardstock or DSP to 2.5 by 6 inches, and I put it on the backs of my envelopes because I do not like naked envelopes. So if I'm not stamping on my envelope, I want to make sure that there's some design on it somewhere. So here's another card that I made with some different colors. This is Petunia Pop, which I used with my last video because that's really a fun color. And then this striped DSP comes out of the 2024 to 2026 in color designs. And that's just, there's a couple of different designs for each color that's in that particular color family. So that's what I used for this. Basically everything else was the same. You know, My Thoughts of You are all heart-shaped, just like this one. And the other thing you could do with some extra DSP is, you know, maybe cut it down to size and you could add it onto here, the top and the bottom, if you wanted, or along the sides. You know, kind of depends on the look you're going for. Sometimes I want something in there and sometimes I need the room to write. But what I do with that extra piece of DSP is I will put glue on my envelope flap. I will put that 2.5 by 6 inch piece on here so that it's just below the front. I don't want to be able to see the DSP from the front. I can see just a little bit there because I don't want it to catch in the processing. But then I will fussy cut basically around the edge so that I've got a coordinating envelope then to go with my card. So that's what I will do with this one as well. And those are my 2 cards using heart-shaped. And they could be for any occasion, you know, just because it's heart-shaped doesn't mean it has to be for Valentine's Day. One of the other sentiments on here, you know, my heart loves your heart, just because I care, sending a thank you. And again, My Thoughts of You are all heart-shaped. That could easily go on the front. And it's kind of shaped where it will probably fit in the middle of that design, I would think. Or if you're using a light colored ink like I did, definitely it'll fit in there. So think of all the things you could do with us, you know. But this set, it's free during Sale-A-Bration only. And the thing is, after Sale-A-Bration, these items that are free are not available. So once Sale-A-Bration is over, they're done. All right, so those free items are gone. All right. So that's what I've got for you. Hopefully you liked this. Watch out for your catalogs. If you don't have them, let me know and I'll make sure that you get some catalogs. And stay tuned because I'm going to be offering some Try It and Take It Tuesdays. So you can come and get your hands on some of these products and see how fun they are to work with. So happy stamping, everybody. See you next time.